One. Hello and welcome to the Fight for Liberty podcast. I'm your host, JJ, and I will be hosting this podcast alongside my patriotic co-host, Alfie. Hey, Alfie, how are you doing?
Good. I'm doing well today. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Today's a historic day. This marks the first episode of the Fight for Liberty podcast. Alfie, would you like to take a moment and tell the listeners what our goal is with this podcast?
Well, my intention with this podcast is to be a pretty low-key, chill podcast where we just uh just two guys uh reading up on the news and talking about it. Potentially in the future bringing a guest to get some different inputs, maybe a different perspective on certain things. And I really want to create a little community of people who believe in fighting for freedom.
Yes, well said. I must to add on to the community part. There will be a link to our Discord server in the description of this, whether you're listening on Spotify or watching and listening on YouTube. I will make sure to include a server invite link in the description. So please join us. We have a growing community of like minded people who appreciate conversations, debates, sometimes just basic hanging out for now. Uh, there's also will be updates on the podcast there, and also we're starting a book club. We're in our first week of one right now, and it's pretty good. So
Yeah.
check that out if you have Discord. And if you don't have Discord but you still want to come in contact with us, I will include an email address where you can contact us in the description as well. Anything you'd like to add on to the Discord information?
We have a TikTok too, right?
Yes,
And it is, yeah.
yes. TikTok, Instagram, and maybe more social media is incoming, but we'll see how those
Yes.
two go to start out with.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll throw those in the bio too. And with that, shall we get into our first news article?
Yes. Yes, we shall.
All right, first article right here. This comes from BBC News. I'm not sure why we're going overseas for this one, but here we go. Trump deploys National Guard in Washington, D.C., and pledges crime crackdown. President Donald Trump said he was deploying the National Guard to Washington, D.C., and taking control of the city's police force as he pledged to crack down on crime and homelessness in the city. Trump declared a, quote, public safety emergency on Monday, deploying 800 National Guard troops to bolster hundreds of federal law of federal law enforcement officers who were deployed over the weekend. Quote, it's becoming a situation of complete and total lawlessness, he told reporters at the White House. The city's mayor has rejected the president's claims about crime, and while there was a spike in 2023, statistics show it has fallen since then. Violent crime in the city is at a 30-year low. Quote, I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor and wars, Trump said during a press conference in which he was flanked by U.S. Attorney Pam Bondi, who will lead the city's police force while it is under federal control. Quote, this is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back, he said. What are your thoughts on this, Alfie, given the information that I just read?
I'm kind of curious, uh, thinking about the more details as to why. I mean, obviously, because his claims on the high crime rate, but I'm kind of curious. Maybe it said it there and I missed it. Was there anything just recently, or just that he wanted to do a crackdown?
He
Just because
he didn't mention
there was.
any recent instances.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure because it says, let's see here. It says right here, according to data from the city's Metropolitan Police Department, homicides dropped by 32% between 2023 and 2024, and have reached their lowest level since 2019. There has been a substantial drop this year of 12%, the data shows. Mayor Bowser, a Democrat, acknowledged there is an interesting thing to specifically point out. Mayor Bowser acknowledged there had been a terrible spike in crime in 2023, which mirrored a national threat, but she pushed back any claims of a crime wave in the city this year. Quote, "We are not experiencing a crime spike," she told MSNBC on Sunday. Quote, "The president is very aware of our efforts." It has a graph here showing, I'll show this on screen for our viewers on YouTube, but for our Spotify listeners, it says Washington, D.C. homicide rate from 1990 to 2024, homicides per 100,000 residences. And it's at about 80, and then it drops down, and there's a spike in 2023. I can see that. It looks like it reached its lowest around 2010. Or no, around 2009, 13, 14. And then it spiked around 2023, and it has been going down consistently since then, it looks like. Democrat.
I'm curious.
Go.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I'm curious what other kinds of crimes look like, because they're just only displaying homicide rates, right?
That's actually a good point. Yeah, it's only, it hasn't said total crime. It's just been referring to homicides specifically has gone down.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, let me look that up.
Well, that statistic might be true, but
it could be cherry picked, is what you're thinking.
Yeah, that's how statistics are used a lot of times, is that things will be cherry picked.
Yes. Let's see here.
To skew it and to force a specific narrative.
Yes, which could be what's happening here, and that is not our goal with this podcast. Let's see here.
We want truth.
Yeah, we want truth. We're digging into these articles. We're not here to report on the news. We're here to question the news. Is what we're here to do.
Yeah, we gotta do that as the American people who love democracy.
Yes, exactly. Actually, no. I'm looking at a graph right here. This is since 2024 to now. Or no, 2020. Yes, 2024 to May 2025 is what this is basing off of. 12% decrease in homicides, 46% decrease in sex abuse cases, 24% reduction in robbery incidents, 9% rise in car thefts, so that's has risen, 4% decrease in total crimes, almost 3,000 firearms recovered, 15% decrease in assault with dangerous weapons, and 2% overall reduction in property crimes year to date. So everything except for car crimes has actually been going down over the past year, in Washington, D.C. specifically.
Yeah. Well,
so
I'm a little...
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, but I wonder if it's like at a good rate. Maybe his justification is that like they're not being as effective. Like it could have gone down more in a given time. That's just how I'm thinking.
Potentially, but my question with that would be, why Washington, D.C., when there are other cities that I feel like could benefit more from the National Guard being deployed with higher crime rates that have not been going down?
That's true. Maybe he wanted to start with D.C. and just to kind of experiment.
It could.
And it's our capital.
Yeah, I was gonna say it could have to do with the capital aspect. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would love to see, uh, because I remember that concept, him saying that even before he won the election about National Guard being deployed to these major cities due to, the ineffectiveness of the police, mostly due to policy than anything. But uh, I would love to see like Chicago, Detroit,
Yes.
uh, like that,
Oh yeah.
also have national.
New York City is a big one.
Oh yeah,
New York City is
100%.
would be very is I'm sure is way more overridden with crime. Let's see here. Back to that article. Democratic House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries also criticized Trump's move and said it had quote no basis in law. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's entirely true. He then continues to say the Trump administration has consistently broken the law and violated the Constitution. To further the personal and political agenda of a wannabe king. I feel like that's kind of rooted in bias. I don't
Yeah,
think there are any cases of him violating a constitution. To my knowledge, I believe every quote unquote case has been taken out of context.
yeah, same to my knowledge. But in this specific case, uh, I mean,
I'm not seeing a
the
ton.
president has the right
Yes,
to deploy National Guard, especially at the concern of public safety.
right.
It's very unfortunate how in a lot of these cities, uh, you know, people can't, take a walk at night. It's very unfortunate, and I would like to see change.
Yes,
And the National Guard being deployed is not a Trump thing. It's been a thing for many many presidents.
right. And yeah, I would say the basis in law comment shouldn't apply. I don't think. I think if you're genuinely trying to cut back on crime, I don't foresee. I can't think of an ulterior motive he would have for deploying the National Guard in a city that does have crime. I think
Yeah,
it's genuinely only going to help. I don't think that it's going to have any negative effects. Um, I don't see how that. I don't see how one can give lashback on that other than comparing it to other cities, like as we just did. That's the only thing I could think of that could be seen to criticize that. That and also the not significant decrease or increase in crime.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's just testing the waters by
Potentially.
doing that.
And
Because I
again,
mean,
it is America's capital.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, maybe maybe I don't know. Maybe he thought it'd be easier considering. I mean, the backlash with the National Guard uh back like 2 months ago that that showed that it's not a very popular method,
True.
but if done right, can be effective. I know. I think it was Bush. There was a hurricane in Louisiana, and there was a lot of rioting that went on. And yeah, Bush. It was Bush. He sent National Guard and cleaned it up, and it worked.
Yeah, I mean, they're an effective group.
Yeah.
It says 800 National Guard troops will be activated. Between 100 to 200 of them will be deployed and supporting law enforcement at any given time. It says, as well as that deployment, Trump said he would place the city's police department under direct federal control using the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. Let me look up that act and see what exactly that entails in terms of federal control of the police. It says that act was was first made by former President Richard Nixon to allow residents of Washington D.C., which is the only U.S. city that is not in any of the 50 states, to elect a city council and a mayor. So basically, the District of Columbia Home Rule Act is a United States federal law passed on December 24th, 1973, which devolved certain congressional powers of the District of Columbia to local government. Furthering District of Columbia Home Rule in particular, it includes the District Charter, also called the Home Rule Charter, which provides for an elective mayor and the Council of the District of Columbia. The council is which provides for an elective mayor and the Council of the District of Columbia. The council, composed of a chair elected at large and 12 members, 4 of whom were elected at large, and one from each of the district's 8 wards. Council members were elected in 4-year terms. So it sounds to me like it makes a Congress, a mock Congress in Washington, D.C., in a way. And that's what they were using for the District of Columbia. But he's using that act now in Washington, D.C. to then cause the local law enforcement to fall under federal jurisdiction. That's interesting.
Yeah.
If the president intends to take control for longer than 48 hours, this is back to the article, by the way, they need to provide a written notice to Congress. And even if that notice is provided, they cannot keep control of the police for longer than 48 days, or for longer than 30 days. So he can only have control for 48 hours unless he's intending to have it for more than 48, then he has to get it passed through Congress. And even then, only a month.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yes, I did not know that either. That will also make it so that since if the law enforcement is under federal law, the National Guard is as well, giving them temporary power of law enforcement, essentially. So it's like giving them a badge, which I guess they didn't already have one.
How long was this whole thing? Or when did this?
Today, I believe. What is today?
Today.
Oh, tomorrow. This article was tomorrow, but it was updated today. So it was in the last 48 hours. This is being recorded on August 12th, 2025. Let's see here.
We'll see how it goes.
Yes. As well as crime, Trump has also spoken at length about homelessness in Washington, D.C. Quote, "We're getting rid of the slums," he said, without giving further details. Trump added that, quote, "Everything should be perfect when foreign leaders visit the city." Quote, "It's a very strong reflection of our country. If our capital is dirty, our whole country is dirty, and they don't respect us." So that explains why specifically Washington, D.C., and not something like New York City.
Yeah. Well, I may hope he gets to it, and
Me too. I hope he doesn't stop with this. That would be disappointing.
yeah. My criticism with that comment is it seems like he's kind of dismissing homeless people. Like, I feel like he should try to do something with them rather than just saying like, just leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah, apparently he said, quote, "Homeless people should be sent elsewhere," but he never specified where they should be sent.
Yeah, I feel like he should try to do something to like almost like try to, I mean, get them like a place to stay or something.
Yes.
Maybe a homeless shelter.
It also goes on with more statistics. Homelessness is down almost 20% in Washington, D.C. In the last 5 years. This is interesting. This article is kind of confusing in some ways, because it seems to be cherry picking, but when I do my own research, I can't find other statistics besides what they mentioned, and I'm not sure what specifically is causing Trump to do this all of a sudden out of nowhere and just put a federal budget towards this and time towards this as opposed to other issues and other cities like we mentioned previously, other than the fact of trying to look good or portray portray a certain cleanliness and cleanness with that specific city for other people.
Wait, what do you mean you can't find uh, the statistics elsewhere?
No, I mean, my first thought is that they cherry picked it to make Trump look bad, as we've seen with other articles. But when I look up just straight up statistics, they aren't cherry picking anything. These are just the statistics. I can't
Oh, I
find
see.
statistics against what they're saying.
Well, why is that confusing then?
No, it's confusing on why Trump is doing this.
I see.
Because I've seen quite a few articles. For example, immigration articles specifically come to mind that I feel like are meant to not necessarily share all of the information and paint certain parties in a bad light or to fearmonger. This article seems to just be the facts from what I'm seeing, um, and it's confusing.
Well, it's good you checked the legitimacy of the statistics.
Yeah,
Uh, I think it could be said for the two main reasons is that a it's it's the capital, and b maybe I mean it may not be as bad as other cities, but still requires attention.
true. It just seems like a lot,
Yeah,
uh, considering in comparison to other places how
yeah,
bad
yeah.
it is in other places. It says here, I guess could shed a little bit of light. Uh, he expressed concern for a former employee of the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, who was attacked in the city last week. Trump said the employee was savagely beaten by a band of roaming thugs and was left dripping in blood. He also mentioned a few other instances of federal government employees and elected officials who had been attacked in the past, including a Democratic lawmaker and an intern. Quote, "This is a threat to America." The first
Maybe
time.
another thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say another thing too that just came to mind when you were reading it is that maybe it's not just because it's our capital, but like maybe there's like an obligation to defend, the place where our politics happens, and defending the, our city, or excuse me, the politicians in the area.
Yes. I could, yeah, that makes sense. I could see that. This will be the second time this year that the National Guard has been second time this year the National Guard has been deployed to a major issue. The first time being in June when he deployed 2,000 National Guardsmen to Los Angeles to deal with the unrest over raids on undocumented migrants. So for those riots, he deployed them. This will be the first time the National Guard has been deployed to Washington, D.C. since 2021. Last time it was deployed 2021 due to the January 6th incident. So I guess at least it's not something that's going all willy-nilly. They're not constantly deploying the National Guard. It's kind of rare.
Yeah.
Which means he must view this as a big deal.
Yeah.
That's the end of the article. So, anything else you'd like to say on that matter?
I'm just kind of like you. I'm a little bit confused on the intent for this, but I do hope that all goes well, and that you know uh, nobody innocent gets hurt, and um, that he continues with this to crack down on crime to make uh, safety across the country. Ensure it.
I agree. I support safety. Again, confused on specifics in this specific instance, but
Yeah.
safety is safety. I'll say that. And hopefully he won't stop with Washington, D.C. Like you were saying initially, hopefully this is just him testing the waters, and if it goes well, he'll move on to more cities, clearing up crime there as well. That would be, I would like that.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next article. On that note, send in your guys' opinions on articles, by the way, or if you have
Yes.
things you want us to specifically talk about, send that in. Email, Discord, or just the comments, whichever.
Yes, we'd love your feedback.
Yes, and who knows, guest maybe. You never know. This next article, this comes from NBC News.
NPC. Sorry.
It says cold-hearted scammers targeted hundreds by posing as grandkids in distress.
That's evil.
That's super evil. Whoever did this is a horrible person. 13 citizens of the Dominican Republic have been charged with scamming 400 grandparents in the U.S. out of $5 million by posing over the phone as their grandchildren in need of help. Sometimes targeting the same... Sorry.
Couldn't get enough of him.
Sometimes targeting the same victims over and over. This is horrible, but how do you fall for that more than one time?
It had to be people with dementia.
It had to have been. There's no way. It
I feel
says,
like it's-
yeah, I shouldn't have laughed, but like multiple times. Grandparents in Massachusetts, California, New York, Florida, and Maryland received calls from people saying they were their grandchild and had just been in a car accident or arrested or was in the midst of other emergency, said the U.S. Attorney for the District of Massachusetts. Their goal was to trick the senior handing over their life savings, holy cow, to help their loved one. In many instances, says the defendants, the Foley is the name of the U.S. Attorney that I just referenced. Foley said the defendants called panicked victims, quote, again and again, giving another emergency to push for more money. So they're probably, the poor grandparents are probably like, man, my grandkids just cannot stay out of trouble. Quote, these scams were not just financially devastating, they are emotionally traumatizing. That's actually a good point, because could you imagine being elderly, slightly confused about the internet, and having your grandchild call you like 10 times in the same day over multiple emergencies? Like,
That'd be scary.
yeah, I don't know what I would do if I was an old person like that. Many victims not only lost their savings, but also their sense of safety, judgment, and trust in the world around them. Prosecutors said the defendants ran a sophisticated criminal enterprise from organized call centers in the Dominican Republic. They hired people who spoke English to pose as the grandchildren and lawyers, as well as others in the U.S. to collect the cash from victims' homes. The average age of the victim was 84, and at least 50 of them were in Massachusetts. If you live in Massachusetts, check on your grandparents, and just tell them you love them. And just do the opposite of what these scammers are doing. Give them money. In some cases, the fraudsters knew the name of the grandchild. In other cases, they followed a vague script identifying themselves as, quote, your oldest grandson. I don't have any grandsons. What are you talking about? I don't know how many calls ended like that. The defendants are all citizens of the Dominican Republic. Who defend these people? I mean, I know, like, the court of law and stuff, but, like, sheesh. Must be a public defender. No way. 9 are in custody, while 4 from New York, New Jersey, and Florida are still at large. Wow. Most of them face a conspiracy to commit mail fraud and wire fraud charge, which is punishable by up to 20 years in prison, and a money laundering conspiracy which is punishable also by up to 20 years. So, worst case scenario, they serve 40 years. I'd say that's fair. These poor old people. The fraud scheme is not uncommon. In March, authorities charged 25 Canadian suspects while biking U.S. Seniors. Bilking? While bilking. With 25 Canadian suspects with bilking U.S. seniors out of. I haven't heard that word before. Out of $21 million in a similar grandparent scam. Ted Dox, the special agent in charge of the FBI's Boston field office, said criminals overseas are, quote, doing this in epidemic levels. What the accused did in targeting our seniors was calculated, cold-hearted, and cruel, he said. No grandparent should ever have to wonder if the next call they get is a cry for help or a trap. What are your thoughts on this, Alfie?
The entire thing. That's sad.
It is sad.
And they made it believable when they said about the whole. They got the name of the names of the grandchildren, right?
Yes. That would be terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, the average age of this is said 84. I honestly, it's not even like I can't even blame them for
No,
getting scammed the first time.
correct. I don't. Well, yeah, the first time. I don't. I do believe that it was definitely orchestrated to be that age bracket specifically, because that is a very vulnerable age bracket.
Yeah, it's cowardly.
It is.
You
It
know,
is
try to scam
cowardly.
someone your own age.
Oh yeah. Yes, exactly. It's a scumbag move. And if you're that desperate for money, get a normal job. You know what I mean? Don't be a dirtbag calling old people pretending to be their grandchildren for money. I think that's very messed up on a number of levels. Also, I looked up the word bilking, and it says to obtain or withhold money from someone by deceit or without justification in a sentence. And apparently benevolent elderly gentleman. Why do they use so many big words in the, in the sentence? An apparently benevolent elderly gentleman bilked me out of $20. So there's your word of the week with the Fight for Liberty podcast. Bilking.
Yes.
Try to use that in your daily vocabulary.
You're gonna learn a lot from us with these articles.
Yes, we have tons of knowledge to bestow upon our listeners.
Yes.
But I must say, if you're out there and your grandma is alive and in the age bracket of 84 years old, just tell them not to answer their phone. Like show them how to put contacts into their phone, and then just tell them only to answer from contacts. Maybe they're a vulnerable people. I believe just like women and children, the elderly should be protected. And over $5 million is nuts. That's life savings of old people. That's bonkers. Those poor old people.
What did it say over?
Over 5 million.
No. Yeah, but over 400 grandparents.
Yes. 13 different people.
13 different people that did it.
Yes. 13 Dominican people from the Dominican Republic involved, and only 9 of them have been caught. Those are still wandering around out there.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It is. It's disgusting. I think honestly, any scams are pretty disgusting. If we're being honest, it's just kind of it's awful. Any sort of scams like that, I don't support.
No.
And you know what? Grandparents should have the freedom to answer their phone without being scared that it's not who they say they are on the other end. They should be able to enjoy their retirement or whatever they old people do when they're that old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, looks like we're close to wrapping up on the first episode. Anything you'd like to say in closing, Alfie? Just in
The
general.
article or in general. We will we'll have more, and just you know stay tuned for more. We plan to be pretty consistent with this regardless of tough schedules, but we will try to stay committed to this. So
Yeah, we'll try to aim for weekly. I think we'll aim for weekly,
hey,
maybe.
still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, either weekly or every other week. One of the two. It won't be anything less than weekly. That's for sure. And it might even
Yeah.
be 3 weeks in a row consistently, and then 2 weeks off. It'll vary, but we will remain consistent episodes. Obviously, we're just starting out, so if you have any recommendations, tips, format ideas, drop them in the comments. Email them to us. Join the Discord. Tell us to our faces. Just let us
Yes,
know.
yes.
Yeah, we're willing. And also, there are many events in the Discord. I would heavily recommend checking it out. We're doing, like I said at the beginning, doing a book club right now. It's very thought provoking.
Yes, yes. Might do more kinds of things like that in the future. We'll see. Just
Yeah,
yeah. Stay
just
tuned.
yeah, just stay tuned. Join the community. You know, you're coming in at the perfect time. If you're listening to the podcast, you're getting in on the ground level, and the only way to go is up.
Yeah. We really want more people to join us fighting for our cause.
Yes, for freedom and for liberty in the United States and outside of the United States. Every human being should have a right,
Yes.
and we strongly believe that, and we stand by that. And with that, I think that's a good time to end it. Thank you for listening. Tune
Yes,
in
thank you.
next episode for more news, more conversations, more, we're educating you guys. You guys learn some stuff, maybe not. Either way,
Yeah. Maybe more
Tune
than
in.
school.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah, don't do school. Just listen to us instead. And with that,
Okay.
goodbye.